2025 is coming to a close, so it's time to hand out the year-end Varsity Extra Awards. Should we call them the VXies? I'm Mike White of the Post-Gazette, along with colleague Keith Barnes, high school sports coordinator of the Post-Gazette, and 2025 is coming to a close. We're going to do in our next podcast in the new year, really hit basketball, more predictions, all of our basketball stuff. But we're here to hand out Western Pennsylvania high school sports VXies, our Varsity Extra Year-End Awards, for a number of categories. Oh, you don't want to miss it. You got to stick around for this. But Keith, before we get to those year-end awards, you want to give some kudos out to Dave & Buster's.
Absolutely. Dave & Buster's. Sports fans, when the game's on, there's only one spot you need to be. Dave & Buster's in Homestead. Catch every play on massive HD TVs, fuel up with fan favorites like wings and burgers, and keep the fun going with the latest games and ice-cold drinks. Whether it's happy hour, game day, or just a night out with friends, Dave & Buster's Homestead is where Pittsburgh goes to eat, drink, play, and watch sports. Proud sponsor of the Post-Gazette Sports WPIAL channel. And like you said, it's our end-of-the-year award show, the VXies. And just so everybody knows, Mike and I did not talk about who our picks are for these. So when we're talking about who we've selected for these accolades, this is a surprise to both of us. So this is going to be kind of interesting. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the game of the year, the one that just had us on the edge of our seat.
Give the bell. Hold on, I have to give the bell. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're going to do the game of the year. And Mike, you can go first. What did you see as your game of the year?
Now, let's preface this, Keith. This is not for the 2024-25 school year. This is just for the 2025 calendar year. So this would be anything that happened from January to December. My game of the year, I'm going to go baseball. I'm going to go the longest PIAA playoff game in the history of the PIAA playoffs was started in the late 1970s. It was in June. It was Indiana against, who did they play? East Pennsboro. East Pennsboro, 17 innings. The game lasted over 2 days. There was rain. They finished 13 innings one day. They came back, finished 4 innings the next day. The longest game in PIAA baseball playoff history. And Indiana wins it 6-5 in the bottom of the 17th. A guy named Putt and a guy named Shank, two other sports names, played key roles in that win because Carter Putt led off with a walk. Ethan Shank reached on a bunt, and Mark Collinger was intentionally walked. And after a strikeout, a kid named Force got a force home with a walk, forced home the winning run, and Indiana wins the game 6-5. That is my game of the year. Yours?
Wow. Mine, Peters Township and Pine Richland in the WPIAL Class 5A football championship. I mean, that was a game that just had everybody on the edge of their seat just as it was going. As Pine Richland goes out, takes that 19-0 lead at halftime. You know, everybody's thinking this game is over. It's never going to happen. Peters Township's never coming back in this game. All of a sudden, Cole Newpaver goes for a long touchdown run, and Peters Township starts believing. And then they score again, and then they score to win and win 20-19 in the greatest comeback in WPIAL championship game history. It's one I was there till 1 o'clock in the morning after that game, writing my story and everything. And it was worth it. It was so much fun to watch. It was a great game. And it's one that just sticks out for me.
All right. Next category. We are going to go with the play of the year. Some play in any sport that really sticks out in our mind. The play of the year. Keith Barnes, what is your play of the year?
Mine was Keemon Spell from McKeesport. And it's not, I thought about the 98-yard touchdown kickoff return to start the season. But for me, it was the playoff game against Thomas Jefferson. It was just a simple run up the middle, and everybody looked like they had him stopped. It was a pile up right there. And all of a sudden, he pops right out, goes 55 yards right up the middle for the touchdown. And everybody in the world thought that play should have been blown dead, should have stopped, whatever, but not him. He scored the touchdown. Leads McKeesport back to the WPIAL championship game for the 3rd straight year. That was just such a great individual effort, him popping through the hole like that.
That's all you got. A normal run.
That's all I got. Yeah, it was all right.
Mine, all right, 65 years ago, a guy named Maz hit a most famous home run in Pittsburgh baseball history to win the World Series. 65 years later, a kid named, not Maz, Manzi, hit a most famous home run, maybe the most famous home run in WPIAL championship history. I'm talking about Charlie Manzi. I'm back to Indiana baseball. In the bottom of the 11th, the number 7 hitter in Indiana's lineup in the WPIAL championship game, Charlie Manzi, off Elizabeth Forward pitcher J.B. Krovac, delivered a fastball over the right center field fence for a 2-run homer in the bottom of the inning that gave Indiana their first championship. That has to be the biggest home run in WPIAL championship history. To win a game in extra innings, Charlie Manzi, responsible for my play of the year.
There you go.
Keith, next.
Comeback player of the year. My comeback player of the year, London Creech from Oakland Catholic. Oakland Catholic was a decent team most of the season. They were competitive. They were very good.
Oakland Catholic basketball.
Oakland Catholic girls basketball. We're challenging North Catholic for the section title. And then London Creech came back about 3 games left in the regular season. And all of a sudden, Oakland Catholic went from a good team to a team that won its first WPIAL title in 19 years. Just her being able to come back from that knee injury, it was questionable whether she would. I mean, there were times in January, February, is she coming back? When's she coming back? Was she going to be able to come back before she went to Robert Morris in the fall? Nobody was sure, but she was able to come back and gave them just enough to be able to get them over the hump to win the WPIAL title against Blackhawk.
You know, I had a lot of trouble figuring out a comeback player of the year, but that sounds good to me. I'll go with London Creech too. I guess it was when she came back, it was a changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace for London, right?
It was.
I'll go with her too. It was she hurt that knee injury in one of the last games of the previous year. Usually it takes a year to come back, and it was close to a year, but for her to come back, that was pretty big. So, all right, that was the comeback player of the year. Here we go. Next category, team of the year. Now we're going to pick a boys and the girls team of the year, right?
Yeah.
All right. So absolutely. You go first. Who are your teams of the year?
My boys team of the year is the Avonworth football team. To be able to do, there we go. To be able to do what they did. I mean, they finished they were the only undefeated state champion this year. One of only 2 undefeated teams in the state. The other one being Albert Gallatin of all teams that played played that independent schedule, went 10-0 this year. But for Avonworth to come back the way they did from last year, after losing 36-33 in overtime, coming back being driven, beating Aliquippa, beating Thomas Jefferson, veritably cruising to the WPIAL title, and then getting back to the state championship game and being able to finish the job at Cumberland Valley in a rematch of the 2024 state championship game. Kudos to Avonworth. They are definitely the boys' team of the year as far as I'm concerned.
Well, me too. We didn't talk about this before, and they're my team of the year too, because oftentimes a team's legacy, Keith, like rightly or wrongly, is decided by what they do in the postseason. And what Avonworth did in the postseason after crunching the numbers, only the 9th WPIAL team since the PIAA playoffs started in 1988 to capture a state championship by winning every postseason game, WPIAL and states, by at least 16 points. That's impressive. Undefeated. I agree with you. They're my team of the year. Okay. Girls team of the year. Who's your girls team of the year?
You know, we want to talk about undefeateds. How about the Neshannock girls softball?
Here we go. We're going to repeat. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do that. When you go 3 undefeated seasons in 4 years, and you come back and you go back-to-back undefeated teams, you have to go with a team like that. Jackie Lash has built an incredible program up there. Addison Fry, as a pitcher, was 80-1 in her career. She's at Providence now. Over the last 4 years, Neshannock 101. And the only loss was in the state semifinals against Everett in 2023 in a game that Jackie said was the worst her team has ever looked. Plain and simple. She said they booted it away. It was a 9-6 loss. Everett went on to win the state championship that year. But to put together back-to-back undefeated seasons and to do it the way they did it, and they had to come back in that state championship game. They were down a little bit in that game. So it was just one of those things with that team. They just had it. They had the it factor. And you got to go with the Lancers.
Well, good news, Barnes. I agree with you. I'm going to go with Neshannock softball also. I mean, they had a 48-game winning streak. Then they lose that state playoff game. Then they have now they're on a 52-game winning streak. Who does that? 48 and 52-game streaks over the course of 4 years. So I agree with you on that. So that is our teams of the year. You're next. Who's up?
The biggest upset of the year. You can go first on this one. The biggest upset. Start with the boys.
Well, I had trouble going with figuring out a boys one. I really did. So I only came up with one. It was so big. I'm going to go with one of them for boys and girls. It was that the North Allegheny girls volleyball team did not even make the WPIAL championship this year. They had won 8 state championships in a row, 8 states in a row. And they had been in the WPIAL championship 8 years in a row and won it for the last 5. And they lose in the semifinals this year. They were the number 1 seed. And they lost the number 5 seed, Pine Richland. And you would think, well, that's not that big of an upset, 5 against 1. But history says that's a gigantic upset. Gigantic. The Rams were ram tough. They knocked off North Allegheny 3-0 in the WPIAL semifinals. North Allegheny, 8-time defending state champ, doesn't even make the district finals. Who's yours?
For the girls, I'm going to stay on the hardwood with you. I'm going to go with the Avonworth girls volleyball team, and here's why. Avonworth became the first team under a number 6 ever to win a WPIAL title. They were the number 11 seed.
You're talking about volleyball. You said hardwood. Are you talking about volleyball?
In volleyball.
Okay.
In volleyball. They upset number 6 Riverside, number 3 seed LaSalle, number 2 Waynesburg, and number 1 Hopewell to win the WPIAL Class 2A title. If that wasn't enough, the number 11 seed in the WPIAL ended up beating Lansdale Catholic 3-1 to win the state championship. So you want to talk about going from a number 11 seed in the district to winning a state title? Avonworth's got to be my upset of the year as far as the girls volleyball team.
All right.
And I do have a boys upset.
Who's your boys?
My boys upset was the number 3 seeded Jeanette boys basketball team that beat number 2 Sewickley Academy 45-25 in the WPIAL semifinals, because I don't think anybody thought Jeanette was going to be able to beat Sewickley Academy. Not with the 2 big guys they had underneath, and all they did was come out, beat them by 20, and then they ended up winning the first WPIAL title for Adrian Batts in his career at Jeanette.
Not bad. Well, we still have a few more categories here. Ready? Here we go. Next one, performance of the year. Best performance of the year. Now, this could be one game. This could be over a series of games. You go first.
My boys' performance of the year was Riverside's Zach Hare.
Here we go.
You know, hey, if they're that good, then we're both going to go with it as far as that goes. When you go 34 consecutive no-hit innings in the playoffs, you throw a perfect game in the WPIAL championship game. He didn't have his no-hit streak ended until the state championship game, and then they still ended up winning the state title. I thought what they did was absolutely amazing. Zach Hare, I think it was a national record, 34 consecutive no-hit innings. I mean, what he put together was just an astounding streak, and I don't think that's going to be broken for a very long time. Maybe at the national level. I don't even know about the WPIAL level.
Well, he is mine also. And so for the performance of the year, wins it by a hair. Zach Hare wins it by a hair. It's a hairy situation too. Oh yeah. Well, we've got these all day. But Keith, it is the longest postseason no-hit streak in U.S. baseball history. Postseason, not regular season.
Postseason.
6th longest in regular season. But the longest postseason no-hit streak in U.S. baseball, high school baseball history, that's incredible. I don't know if people really realize what he did. 34 innings of no-hit ball in the playoffs. That wasn't against a bunch of tomato cans in the regular season. That was in the WPIAL championship, the semifinals, the state playoffs, I mean, it was.
It went into the state championship game. I think he went into the 4th inning with a no-hitter in that game, too.
Yeah, first perfect game in WPIAL championship history. He's a 6'3" right-hander. He finished 10-0. Listen to these stats. With a 0.68 ERA. He allowed only 16 hits in 72 1/3 innings. Struck out 138. He is 21-1. He finished his career with a 0.94 ERA. He's now playing at Slippery Rock. Zach Hare, no doubt, the best performance of the year by an athlete. All right, I'll go first in the girls since you're taking all of them. Mine is going to be Ayanna Wade from Clairton.
Wow.
People talked about, she shot a lot, and she did shoot a ton. But she finished basketball as the WPIAL's second all-time leading scorer with 3,119 points from Clairton, a little small guard. What is she, 5'4", something like that? She had a school record or WPIAL record, 65 points in a game as a junior. And last season, she had 60 in a game. And for 2024-25, she averaged 38.8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 steals, led the team to the WPIAL 1A championship game. Yeah, she did shoot a lot, but you score 3,000 points, you score 60 in a game. She's my performance of the year.
My performance of the year was, I'm going to stay on the hardwood with you, Karis Thomas from Shady Side Academy. And you have to look at the whole circumstance. This is a day after they found out they lost Cassie Sauer for the year with a broken hip. She wasn't going to be able to play. They had to go play a WPIAL semifinal that day at North Allegheny. And all she did was go for 47 points. I think it was 46 points. I'm sorry. 9 3-pointers in a win against Elwood City. And the great thing about that, she didn't even score her first point until midway through the first quarter. It was just, she just took the team on her back that day. And had, I believe it was a school record as well, 46 points. So kudos to Karis Thomas. What an outstanding performance she had, especially as the team faced adversity right there. And they ended up going to both WPIAL and state championships last year.
Next, what is the category?
Coach of the year. We're going to start with the boys, and I'm going to go with Dan Oliastro from Riverside Baseball. When you lead that, when you got a kid like Zach Harry, you're gonna be able to ride him. But when you got an 81-year-old baseball coach who wins a state title and a WPIAL title, you just gotta love what the guy's doing there. And it's just amazing what he does year after year after year. Just keep himself young, keeping the energy level up. And he's my coach of the year.
Incidentally, I thought about picking him, but I think we might have given it to him. Others could give it to him a lot. He's won more WPIAL titles now, 7 of them, than any baseball coach in WPIAL history. He's the longest tenured coach in WPIAL history in any sport. And he's won, I think, 5 state titles more than any coach in Pennsylvania. So, I could have gone with him. I am actually maybe going to go with like a coach 1 and a coach 1A. My coach 1A would be, I'm on this Indiana baseball kick. Dan Petroff of Indiana. Are you kidding me? They won WPIAL and state championships in only his second year as coach. And Indiana never won a WPIAL championship before. They finished the season 26-1. And for the first time, they called themselves WPIAL and PI champions. They won the longest PIAA game. And it wasn't an easy road. He had to do a lot of managing in those playoffs because they played a number of extra inning games and a number of 1-run games. So he is in there. My other one, Duke John Corv Avonworth. Not for necessarily what he's did this year, although he did great, what we already talked about their team. But what he has built there at Avonworth is something to behold. I think there's only one coach in the last 7-8 years in WPIAL who has a better winning percentage than he does at Avonworth. He's been in a championship 3 years in a row, and what he's built there is really, really impressive. And a program they had some good years here and there, but they weren't really. And the thing was, Bill Chirpak said, and I think he might be right, they might have been the best 4A team in WPIAL, maybe even the state. They might have been able to win the 4A state title. And Duke John Corv, what he has built there. And what he has built there, really impressive. He is my coach of the year. All right, you go for a boys coach of the year. Go ahead.
Okay, for the girls coach, I went with a 1 and 1A. I went with Jackie Lash from the Shannock. I mean, obviously, we talked about what she did. I mean, it was pretty amazing what she did. And the other one was Brian Bennett from South Fayette. His team could have gone in the tank. There was no doubt about it. I mean, this is a team that's won WPIAL championship after WPIAL championship and then lost to Peters Township in the WPIAL final. And they could have just said, okay, we lost, we're done. No, they rebounded, they came back, they beat Peters Township in the state playoffs and ended up winning the school's first state championship in Class 5A. What an impressive performance for the girls basketball team this year. So Brian Bennett's my other choice.
All right. Last category, right?
Yep. Athlete of the year.
Athlete of the year. Now, this is just from 2025, not the 2024-25 school year.
Yes.
So it's the winter sports, the spring sports, and the fall sports.
Yes.
Well, am I going first?
You can go first.
I have a feeling we might be picking the same guy, but I really think this kid deserves mention right behind who I'm going to pick. First, I'm going to mention Bobby Fadden of Mohawk. He's a small school, but we're just talking about what he did in high school. He's not going to go to any major college or anything like that, but he plays 5 sports, and he plays them all very, very well. At Mohawk High School, all right, he's only the second known player in WPIAL history to have 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards passing, and 1,000 yards rushing in a career. He started out as a receiver, moved to quarterback, I think, his junior year. That's impressive enough. Also on the golf team at Mohawk, same season as football. Once this year, on a Friday afternoon, he went and walked 18 holes in a Mohawk golf match and walked it. He didn't ride it. And then he went and played quarterback in a football game that night. That alone, who does that? Nobody does that. And then in basketball, Keith, he's going to score his 2,000th point very shortly for his career in basketball. 2,000 points in basketball. And he averages over 20 a game, and Mohawk's our number 1 ranked team. Then he goes to the spring, and he plays baseball. He's one of their top players and pretty good hitter, and he also runs some track. I think he has to be mentioned, but my athlete of the year is probably going to be yours also. And he was our athlete of the year for the 2024-25 school year. I don't know how you don't pick Scoop Smith. What he did again in football this year, I mean, he scored 23 touchdowns this year that averaged 50.3 yards. In his career, 62 touchdowns in 4 years. The average length of those was 44.1 yards. One of the greatest small athletes in the history of the WPIAL. I'm talking back 100 years, over 100 years. He's 5'5" about. And he really is one of the greatest small athletes in the history of the WPIAL. He won the 100 meters AAA for the second year in a row back in May. And then in basketball last season, and it came out in March, he was all section, average 18 points a game. He's like Muggsy Bogues on the court. What he does and what he has done in those sports, in the size he has and how he kind of galvanized that Woodland Hills community, really impressive. Only one of a kind, Scoop Smith. Scoop Smith's my athlete of the year.
He's mine as well. I mean, and you mentioned what he does in that community. I mean, you know, his turkey drive, he's got that, he's got his camp every year for the last 3 years. I mean, he's just an outstanding person, not just an outstanding athlete. He's just an amazing person. And like you said, you look at him, you're thinking, there's no way this kid's this good. And all this, you know, just in street clothes. And all of a sudden you put him on a court, you put him on a field, put him on the track. He is just amazing to watch. He really is. He's electrifying.
Electrifying is what you said. I say he's, in football, one of the most exciting players in the history of the WPIAL. And that's obviously true. I mean, who averages 44.1 yards on touchdowns after 63 of them over their career? Incidentally, he's going to Miami of Ohio. All right, the girls' athlete of the year. You want me to go first? Because I don't think you picked this one.
Go ahead.
I'm picking Mimi Thero of Quaker Valley.
I had a feeling that's where you were going with that.
She averaged now their team was not real good last year, but she averaged a double-double, 23 points, 16 rebounds, along with 3.9 steals, 3.8 blocks, 3-point assists. Then she earned both all-section, all-state. Then she went out in the spring and won the WPIAL high jump championship. She's 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", and placed second in the state in that event. And she helped Quaker Valley win team track titles, both WPIAL and state. And then she comes back this year. She's averaging over 30 points a game, shooting. You think 6'5", she's doing it all inside. She's shooting 47% from three-point range. 47 from three-point range. She is one of the top 50, 75 players in the country. She is signed with the University of Maryland. Really is. Her brother plays for the Lakers now. Is actually He was hurt for a while. He's now on the team. He gets in every once in a while. Adu Thero. I'm going with Mimi Thero. My girls athlete of the year. I think I know who you're going to pick. You're going to make a splash with this, aren't you?
Yes, I am. But I'll tell you what, with Mimi, what impressed me was when I saw her at track when she did the high jump. I mean, she did that second place jump in the rain. It was pouring when she was jumping, and she was still able to put a nice jump together. I mean, I was stunned by what she was able to do up there. That was pretty impressive. And I remember Mimi when she was a freshman, she was just tall, but she didn't have that presence on the court. Now she has that court presence, which is really amazing. But like you said, my selection is going to be making a splash, and that's Lily King from Mount Pleasant. Yes, she graduated in the spring, but while she was in Mount Pleasant, she is the first WPIAL swimmer, boys or girls, ever to finish with a Sweet 16. You can only compete in 2 individual events at a WPIAL and state championships, and she won all 8 times at both the WPIAL and state level. First person ever to do it. She set a WPIAL record every single time she dove into the pool for an individual event. She finished her career as the lead. She has pool records at Trees Pool and Bucknell University in the 100 and 200 freestyles. And she also got the WPIAL record in the 50 freestyle this year when she led off the 4x50 or the 200 meter freestyle relay, or yard relay, I should say. So yeah, she got 3 WPIAL records this year individually because she led off a relay. And I think she did the same thing. She also holds the 50, the 100, and the 200 records at the state level as well. She's swimming at North Carolina State this year, and she already has qualifying times in the 50 meter, 100 meter, and 200 meter for NCAAs this year.
Wow. So yeah. you picked a King as queen of WPIAL athletes.
Absolutely.
All right. You like that? You like what I did there?
I like that. That was pretty good.
That's it, right?
That's it. Well, for Mike White, I'm Keith Barnes, the high school sports coordinator at Post-Gazette. We'd like to thank you for joining us for our podcast. We'd like to thank Dave & Buster's for their sponsorship. Please follow us on our YouTube channel or on Spotify, or you can download us on Apple as well. So until next time, have a great New Year's, and we'll see you in 2026.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.